Oktoberfest may be cancelled for 2020, but that shouldn't stop you from visiting virtually. In today's video, I'm taking you on a virtual visit to the world's largest beer festival, showing you exactly what goes down during this intense 2.5-week ball of chaos that hurtles through Munich every year. Well, every year before the virus who must not be named. So, let's get going. Hit that cheesy intro. What's up, Smarties? Christina here from happytowander.com. It has been a little while, but I'm here today with a virtual trip to Oktoberfest in Munich, Germany, an event I've been lucky to attend every year since moving to Munich 5 years ago. If you've ever wondered what the festival is actually like, what every tent looks like inside, what you can eat, and all sorts of fun facts, this video is for you. Using clips from previous years, I'll show you exactly what to expect. And if you want some more Oktoberfest content like recipes, DIY party ideas, how to get table reservations for next year, and more, be sure to visit the Oktoberfest section of my site for tons more information. Now, let's start with some numbers so you have an idea of just how huge Oktoberfest really is. Oktoberfest is the largest beer festival in the world, spanning 2.5 weeks annually from late September to early October. In 2019, Oktoberfest welcomed over 6.3 million visitors who guzzled down over 7.3 million liters of beer. And this isn't just regular beer either. The beer served at Oktoberfest is brewed especially for the festival with a stronger alcohol content than normal. And if that sounds like a recipe for disaster, you are completely correct. Besides beer, though, you'll find fairground rides, games, amazing food stalls, and of course, the main attraction, dozens of epic beer tents that are all unique in design and decor. But how did this all begin? Let's give you a quick rundown of Oktoberfest history. While today Oktoberfest is known as a beer festival where millions of people go every year to lose their dignity, it might surprise some of you to know that the very first Oktoberfest was actually a wedding. The year was 1810. Crown Prince Ludwig, who would later become King Ludwig I, was set to marry Princess Theresa of Saxony-Hildburghausen. So they did what royals did back then best. They threw an epic party. Everyone in Munich was invited to celebrate at the fields in front of the city gates, which is still where the festivities are held today. That empty space would come to be known as Theresienwiese, translated in English to the Meadow of Theresa, named after the blushing bride herself. This name still stands today and is why most locals refer to Oktoberfest as the Wiesen. The horse races and celebrations were so beloved that they returned the year after that, and the year after that. Then they started adding amusement park rides, carousels, beer tents, and really the rest is history. Today, the first day of Oktoberfest looks a little something like this. If you don't have a reservation, you need to get up at the crack of dawn to go mark your spot in line. Once they cut the ribbon, so to speak, it's a no-holds-barred running match to the tents. Here's some footage of my boyfriend leaving me in the dust. All tents will have a section for unreserved tables, but you have to run to secure your spot. The first day is also kind of unique because beer can't be served until 12 p.m., which means lots of sober waiting around. But once noon hits, every effort will have been worth it. The first day is also marked by a fun opening day parade where each tent takes part in a procession that marches through the city center. It's a lot of fun and a good alternative to joining the Oktoberfest Hunger Games on the first day. Now on that note, why don't we talk a bit more about the beer tents? First things first, they may be known as tents, but I think that word really undersells just how epic these structures are. At Oktoberfest, you'll find 17 large tents that can fit thousands of people inside each one. And that's not even counting the giant beer gardens that most of them have as well. It's little wonder why they actually take months to build, and so they start construction early in the summer. Not only does every tent look different, with different themes, colors, menus, and specialties, they all serve different beers as well. And the rule is, beer at Oktoberfest must come from one of Munich's 6 city breweries: Augustina, Hacker-Pschorr, Hofbräu, Löwenbräu, Hollaner, and Spaten. Each tent will serve beer from one of these breweries, so if you want to catch them all, you can definitely try. But odds are you'll end up on Pass Out Hill way before that. Especially because beer here is served by the liter, also known as a mass. They're not cheap, ranging from 11 to 12 euros plus tip for a single one. And if you want your server to come back, you'll definitely have to tip them well. Servers are like the unsung heroes of Oktoberfest, but they do get compensated accordingly. While they're not paid an hourly wage, they make approximately 50 cents per mass plus tips. And trust me, it adds up fast. Reports say that servers can earn anything from 5,000 to over 10,000 euros for the 2.5 weeks' work. Definitely not bad. And if you haven't left yet to Google how to become an Oktoberfest server, now it's time to take a peek inside each large Oktoberfest tent. So let's hit some tunes and take a quick tour. As I mentioned, every tent at Oktoberfest has a different character and color scheme. Some pay homage to traditions like hunting, while others feature motifs of their favorite culinary specialties. The oldest tent at Oktoberfest is the Schottenhamel tent, which started as a shack with 50 seats, but today has an indoor capacity of over 6,000 people. This is also where the party starts, because on the first day at Oktoberfest, it is in this tent at noon that the mayor taps the first keg of the festival. Fun fact, Albert Einstein also worked in this tent. He wasn't a server though, he was screwing in light bulbs as a teenager. Another noteworthy tent is the Hacker tent, known by its nickname, the Heaven of Bavaria. Its decor is light blue with fluffy clouds and many Bavarian motifs. It's by far one of my favorites. Not my favorite is the infamous Hofbräu tent, a favorite among international tourists because of the brewery's international fame. This tent is beautiful, but it's always packed and it's definitely among the festival's rowdiest. For a more wholesome experience, visitors can't miss the Oidewiesen, a special section of Oktoberfest that feels like a step back in time. It costs a few euros extra, but is 100% worth it, for cozy tents and old-school rides that are reminiscent of what Oktoberfest would have been like decades ago. Lastly, unbeknownst to most, Oktoberfest does actually have an entire tent dedicated to wine, although beer is definitely still the star of the show. For a detailed breakdown of each tent with photos and fun facts, be sure to visit happytowonder.com. Now, after all that sightseeing, you must be starving. So let's talk about Oktoberfest food. Granted, food might not be the first thing you think about when you hear the word Oktoberfest, but where there's drunk people, there's bound to be drunk munchies. And at Oktoberfest, the most popular dishes are the ones that fill you right up. From roast chickens and giant pretzels to pork knuckles with potato dumplings and gravy, the food at Oktoberfest isn't exactly light, but it is delicious. And if you visit certain tents, the selections can even be pretty gourmet. Käfer's Wiesenschanke, for example, is known for its culinary offerings, which is probably why that tent is one of the most exclusive. But besides what's served inside the tents, there's plenty of stalls on the ground selling street foods like sandwiches, hot dogs, roasted almonds, and my personal favorite, fried garlic shrimp. Trust me when I say I would take a bullet for this shrimp. So, as you can see, Oktoberfest cuisine is definitely the worst, both for your waistline and your wallet. And while spending far too much on food is pretty much an Oktoberfest tradition of its own, so is getting drunk and paying to go on rides you would otherwise never attempt. From carousels and swing rides to bumper cars and roller coasters, there are dozens of fairground rides and games scattered across the Oktoberfest grounds, the majority of which date back to the 19th century. This fairground aspect is what makes Oktoberfest actually quite the family affair. Most first-time visitors are shocked to see that children are running around the festival, but actually you'll see plenty of them during the day. There's even special family days for discounts on rides and food. Don't worry though, if you see a small child downing what looks like a beer, odds are it's Apfelschorle, a popular local drink that's just a mix of apple juice and sparkling water. And while the Ferris wheel is an iconic sight of Oktoberfest, the most thrilling ride is hands down the Olympia Looping, also known as the largest transportable roller coaster in the world and the only one of its kind with 5 loops. There's also the Bayern Tower, a swing ride that goes 80 meters above ground. I've been on it and it wasn't pretty. My personal favorites, though, are the attractions where you get to watch people make a fool of themselves. For that, there's the amazing toboggan, where you watch drunkies zip their way up a conveyor belt, climb up a spiral staircase, and slide down on a wooden slide. And of course, my personal favorite, the Teufelsrad, aka the Devil's Wheel, which has been an Oktoberfest institution since 1910. This game is simple. There's a spinning wheel in the middle. Groups of people are called up according to different categories. Then the wheel starts spinning and the last person holding on wins. They don't actually win anything except bragging rights, but it's pretty fun to watch. Now, last but not least, let's talk about Oktoberfest outfits. Lederhosen and dirndls are some of the most iconic symbols of the festival, with locals and tourists alike dressing up for the occasion. But it's important to note that these traditional outfits, known as tracht, aren't costumes. They're actually traditional garments worn for many other occasions in Bavaria, like church, weddings, and one time I even saw a guy mowing his lawn in the countryside in his lederhosen. For me, Oktoberfest is like Fashion Week. I love seeing all these traditional outfits, which is why one of my favorite Oktoberfest traditions is a parade dedicated to tracht that takes place on the first Sunday of Oktoberfest every year. Over 9,000 participants march in this parade, showing off all their unique trachten. Groups come from villages and towns all across Bavaria, and seeing the differences in tracht is really so much fun. Some towns even try to upstage the others with giant floats and displays. So, now that you know about Oktoberfest history, beer, tents, and outfits, it's time to relax and enjoy a virtual beer of your own. The song you're hearing right now is called Ein Prosit, and it is one that you will hear every 10 minutes or so at Oktoberfest. At the end, you're meant to cheers everyone at your table and take a sip. Some say that every time it plays, the tent earns 3,000 euros from all the sips being taken. And while brass bands and oompa music are popular during the day, most tents go into party mode at night, with a stream of party favorites, classic hits, and plenty of benchtop dancing. Just don't stand on the table to chug your beer or you'll probably be thrown out. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for joining me on this virtual trip to Oktoberfest 2020. Let me know in the comments if you've ever been or ever plan to go. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more virtual Europe travel coming soon. Thanks for watching. Bye!